Pay close attention. She thought a white man was going to save her to the point she rejected African men. This is how you know black women hate black men. Even during times of colonization, war, and racism, this granny still wanted to be with a white man who saw her nothing more than what she really was.
This 103-year-old woman is a virgin, and she regrets it. Yes, you heard that correctly. Mariam has maintained her purity for over a century and is unable to find a lover. But hold on, there's more to her story. She once met a white man whom she fell in love with. They had big plans together. Despite having a wonderful time, she chose to remain virgin until marriage. However, the boyfriend mysteriously disappeared. She turned down other African men who showed interest in her and waited for her man. But to this day, he has not returned, nor has he even communicated with her. She stayed celibate, but in the end, she felt betrayed. What happened to the boyfriend? Is he still alive? Why is there no communication? And how has this woman managed to maintain her virginity for over 100 years? We are in Tanzania, a country known for its extraordinary stories.
My name is Mariam Hussein. I was born in 1921 in a small village where life was simple and community was everything. Growing up in this remote corner of Tanzania, we faced the harsh realities of rural life. My family, like many others, depended on subsistence farming for survival, and it still was not enough to sustain the whole family of more than 10 members.
From a young age, Mariam worked tirelessly in the fields, helping her family grow crops to make a living. Education was a luxury that her family could not afford. Instead, her days were filled with labor under the scorching sun, cultivating, tending to crops, and looking after domestic animals. Despite the hardships, the village was a place of warmth, and everyone around was friendly. But Mariam's life took an unexpected turn when, one fateful day, a stranger arrived in the village.
I met John, a young white man from Europe who had come to Tanzania in search of adventure and purpose. I helped him navigate and settle comfortably into his new environment. Over time, our friendship blossomed into something more. To be honest, he was unlike anyone I had ever met. His manners, stories, and kindness all fascinated me. He respected my culture and showed genuine interest in my life and aspirations. We spent countless hours envisioning a future filled with love and happiness. I believed he was truly unique, and indeed, he was.
John and Mariam soon developed a close bond. They would spend hours talking, sharing dreams and aspirations. John would share the life and experiences from his home country in Europe and discuss how busy everyone is, leading people to focus solely on themselves, unlike the loving and caring Africans he had met. They had fun together and often played games that were beautiful to witness. For Mariam, John represented a world beyond the confines of her village, a world full of possibilities.
Our relationship blossomed, and I found myself falling deeply in love. Every moment we spent together made my feelings for him grow stronger. I could see that he loved me too. His eyes sparkled with genuine affection whenever he looked at me, and his actions always showed his care and commitment. I loved him back wholeheartedly and unconditionally because for the first time in my life, it was all about love in its purest form. We shared dreams, hopes, and secrets, building an unbreakable bond. I also hoped that John would be the one to change my destiny. I dreamed that he might take me away from the life of struggle I had always known and experienced. With him, I envisioned a future filled with endless possibilities, free from the hardships that had defined my past. He gave me hope that together, we could build a new life, full of love and happiness.
John taught Mariam new farming techniques, such as irrigation using pesticides and the use of manure, which helped her family improve their yield. The villagers also began to respect him, as they witnessed the positive impact he had on their lives. However, as life often does, it took an unforeseen twist. Just when Mariam's hopes were at their highest, John received news that compelled him to leave immediately. Without a word, without a goodbye, he disappeared, leaving Mariam heartbroken and confused.
I was devastated. I couldn't believe he had disappeared. Initially, I considered the possibility of it being a prank or a test of my patience. I searched high and low for John, desperately hoping for an explanation, but he was nowhere to be found. Days turned into weeks turned into months, and still there was no trace of him. Months turned into years, and yet I clung to the belief that John would eventually return. I refused to accept the idea that he might not come back anytime soon. Despite the wonderful moments we had shared, I remained a virgin. In our culture, it was expected that a girl preserves her purity until marriage. Having sex before marriage was considered a taboo, so I made it a priority to maintain my purity. This cultural belief was deeply ingrained in me, and I took my commitment to it seriously. Even though I loved John deeply and we had an incredible bond, I remained steadfast in upholding this cultural value. I believed that one day we would be married and my patience would be rewarded. However, as the years went by, the hope of his return began to fade, leaving me feeling both betrayed and alone. Nevertheless, I remained resolute in my promise to myself and my culture.
As time passed, many suitors came seeking Mariam's hand in marriage, mainly her countrymen here in Tanzania, who had everything to make her a wife. but she rejected them all, clinging to the belief that John would come back for her. Hence, she kept her virginity, waiting for the man she loved. Years turned into decades, and Mariam grew old. Her beauty faded, but her hope never did. She continued to live in the village, alone, but never truly gave up on her dream. Now, at 103 years old, Mariam reflects on her life with a mixture of regret and acceptance. She wonders what could have been had John stayed or even said goodbye. But she also takes pride in her unwavering commitment to the man she loved.
Patiently waited for John because I truly believed in our extraordinary love. To me, it was a love that comes once in a lifetime, capable of overcoming any obstacle. While our ending did not live up to my expectations, leaving me with a broken heart, I have no regrets about loving him. Even though he never returned, I cherish moments we shared. He taught me to hope, to dream, and to believe in the beauty of love. For that, I am grateful. He showed me a world beyond my struggles, a world filled with endless possibilities. I am unsure if he is still alive or not, but wherever he may be, he should know that I kept my promise. I held on to the memories of our time together, continuing to love and wait for him. I remained true to my feelings and the purity of our bond, firmly believing that true love is worth waiting for, regardless of how long it takes.
Now you see why slavery happened and why it lasted so long. It wasn't because of black men. Divesting gone back to the future.
It doesn't matter where he comes from, as long as it's white.
103 divesting out granny, African granny, still waiting for a white man that never returned. Divesting gone horribly wrong. A 103 granny that's from Tanzania are waiting for a white man that has visited Tanzania way back when she was still young and fresh. She met a white man that was interacting with the villagers in Tanzania. As you can see in the script, like she said, this man and she was communicating like I think he was maybe asking her around, asking her about Tanzania, the ins and the outs of Tanzania, almost like a tour guide. He sees her, and like she said, he teach her agriculture and about certain stuff she never know about plantation. And he was maybe alone and talked to her, but he needed her. His needs to be fulfilled in the bedroom. And this black African woman thought this Brett or John, whoever he is, are romantically interested in her. So she thought that this white man was interested in her. That's a poor village, uneducated farmer, and don't understand the dynamics that time that interracial marriages didn't exist. They are from two different worlds. He probably saw no profit in Tanzania that he can benefit from, or the soil wasn't fertile and the plantation is so difficult to bear any fruitful vegetables or fruits. So he just think, okay, I will just explore and stay for few months or a year as a holiday and see where I can explore and find a productive place where I can make money and profit and make enough and then go back to Europe and make a business, married and get children. That's what John or Brett thought about. Now the delusional black Tanzania woman thought he was in love with her and think he will marry her in a traditional African way and stay in a mud clay house with chickens and cows running around and work in that harsh conditions forever to be with a barefoot ashy feet Tanzania woman with no shoes and barely put Vaseline on her elbows. She thought he shared all his knowledge with her and make plantation farm work his ass off for her black family to be rich. White men will never do that for Tanzania Keisha. Tanzania Keisha had this fantasy about this white man she never know. He was probably sleeping with other villager girls. That was easy, right after she refused to give her Bonani for him. If he really liked her or fancied her, he could have taken her with him overseas. But it shows you how dumb black African women are, not to realize the world is not a fairy tale, but nobody told her in that village told her the white men are not interested in village Tanzania women. Nobody told her the truth cause they are not intellectual or that mental capacity. She refused to date her own race and she lived in a That's how fantasy world. That's how sick black women are for white meat. Really. Like I said, a lot of black women on the plantation loved it when the white massa raped them and sexually assault them. But I bet you they do this role play in the bedroom. That makes me so sick. This is a sick fetish for the interracial couple. This 103-year-old Keisha let her punani collect dust literally. It's near in mummification form and spider webs is between her legs. It's coughing white powder. Her punani juice dried as fuck by now. And thus John, whoever he is, that forget her in 2 seconds when he got on that boat and left probably married 3 or 4 times and had grandkids by now. And probably resting 6 foot under white bones and ashes. His ding dong a long time eaten up by worms, while 300-year-old Granny Keisha are still thirsting after him and waiting for him to come back and take her mummification virginity. This lady should have died at 80 or 90. Her soul is trapped on this earth waiting for John Brett to come back. It will be 200 years. She will still be waiting, alive and waiting for the white man to smash her. That's all I want to say, guys. This is a weird story. Thanks for watching. See you next video. Bye.
Y'all gon'